Just when you think they're about to break apart,
Ducks fly together.
And when the wind blows hard and the sky is black,
Ducks fly together.
and when everyone says it can't be done, ducks fly together.
We are Vikings!
So we'll just wing it.
Yeah.
So that's a funny question because I've trained quite a bit. Well, like 12, 13, 14 years probably on and off. But then it was the past sort of 4 years, maybe I took it a little bit more seriously. Then I qualified as a personal trainer, got more into it then. And it was only really actually last January that I decided, you know what, let's give this a go, because I thought about doing it at the start of 2020. However, COVID happened, and well, yeah, so that's why I didn't. But then I took the jump last January, and this is when I was in England as well, with Little Junk in Kent, the Garden of England. And yeah, it sort of went, yeah, let's go for this, and good decision.
I was excited for you because you needed a challenge, and I knew that you needed that because that's what you're like. But to be honest, I went, oh, okay, that's something he wants to. If I'm totally honest, at first I was like, it's a phase. he won't go through with it. And then you did. But to be honest, I didn't think much because I didn't really know at the beginning what it meant, really. All I know is what everybody sees, and what you've probably all seen is the Arnold Schwarzeneggers and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, like any good journey, it's handy to have a map. But I didn't really have a map as such. Kind of, I did. But there was ups, there was downs, there was highs, there was lows. Some very significant highs, like the first time I seen abs, and I was like, oh, I never knew I had them. And then there are some lows, especially coming into the competitions, because as a lot of you may or may not know, when your body fat percentage is low, there's chemical imbalances in your body. And yeah, but no, as a whole, it was very good. I enjoyed it, and that's why I'm doing it again this year. And I think anyone that's into fitness and considering doing it, go for it. But make sure you've got a good team behind you that will support you.
I knew very little about bodybuilding. No, I didn't know much, and I know what you see on sort of people like Arnold Schwarzenegger or like famous bodybuilders from years ago. And I'm talking really famous to the point that you don't even need to be into fitness to know who they are. But obviously, that being said, what Stephen was doing was so different to that. It's like natural bodybuilding and kind of traditional bodybuilding, I think, are two very different things, and they've grown apart like over the years from what I've seen. So I didn't know a lot about it. I knew there was tan involved. I've learned a lot about tanning. I knew there was going to be tanning. I knew there was going to be no eating, and I knew there was going to be a gym. That's about it, really.
There's kind of two definitive highlights, which is funny because I did 2 shows, but they're highlights both in the different sides. So I did BNBF Midlands, and the show, I remember going in, sitting down, waiting, ready to go on, and I was like, these boys are massive. Nah, they're not novices, they couldn't be novices. And then they came in and called, okay, all the novices, everyone got up, and I just went, But I got on stage, and went out, did my posing. I got first call out, which is very good. However, I didn't end up placing in that show, but I know where my downfalls was. It was my first show, so to get the call out in my first show was a big highlight for me. And then I decided to finish my season at the end of MBFI, which is one of the Irish shows, because now there are plenty of Irish shows. And I got a silver medal in the novice, so that getting that medal was the highlight of my season, but each show had its own highlight. So yeah, lows, it's the bit people don't really talk about with bodybuilding, because more often than not people will say, oh, you have to diet like this, you have to eat this, you have to eat that, you have to train like this, you need to make sure your sleep's in, recovery, all that. No one tells you really about how your mind will react to it, because yes, bodybuilding, especially coming into shows, is glorified, it's competitive starvation at the end of the day, because you're eating and consuming a lot less than your body actually needs to function properly. So as a male going into the natural side of the sport, I do not take performance enhancing drugs of any type, because, well, we'll get tested and that would be breaking the rules, and nobody likes breaking rules. But because of that, my testosterone, like anyone who has a very low body fat percentage, it will drop. And in turn, your mind just doesn't work the same, your body doesn't work the same, and the smallest things can stress you out. Like, for me, one of the lowest points was actually spilling some oats, and I cried. I'm not even joking. Like, broke down in the middle of the kitchen. And there's a few other points where I just started questioning why, because throughout the process, most people, like, if they haven't questioned why am I doing this, or wanting to give up, or fair play to them, because maybe it's my own difficulty where I have whatever mental health issues throughout my life, that maybe that made me more prone to them, especially in the latter stage. I don't know. However, I still did it, and I'm doing it again this year, and I know what I'm prepared for this year. And that's what I think. Everyone needs to be prepared for the lowest lows they're going to get.
How was the journey for me? I think in the same way I had ups and downs, in the same way that Stephen had ups and downs, because when you care about somebody and when you love somebody, you don't want to see them in pain or suffering, and it's like deliberate suffering that you put yourself through in order to look a certain way. And so I was kind of conflicted in, I don't want him in pain and I don't want him to be sad, but I understand why he's sad. But then equally there were things that I couldn't fix or I couldn't help, which made it quite difficult. Things like the chemical changes your body goes through, like you can't fix that. You can't, if somebody's down because of it or whatever it might be, like you can't fix that, and they can't fix that unless they stop doing what they're doing. You don't want that for them, because it was a very conflicting journey for me, and it was hard. Like, it wasn't, obviously I was so proud of him once he'd gone up and done it and he'd won his medal and he'd stepped on the stage, and everything that I'd watched him work so hard for, he did, and I was so unbelievably proud. I was so proud that I'm going to get upset, nothing comes close to that feeling of watching that person that you love do what they love, and you're like, oh, he's done it. But equally, where there's the highest of highs, as Stephen's already said, there are the lowest of lows, where you kind of go, why am I doing this? I can't help you in any way. And I felt mainly helpless. Let's go for that. The answer in a word is I felt helpless, completely helpless, because I couldn't do anything. But I was lucky because I had a lot of help from people around me that kind of knew bodybuilding and knew about the world itself, and I did have a lot of help from them, and quite often I would ask, what on earth do I say to him? This is what's happened. So I had help from them, but yeah, it was tough.
The one thing that I'm going to change, my mindset around it, because I know where I've planned to do things, when I've planned to do things, how I'm going to do them. So I'm going with a map. I'm not going blind, because this year I had a coach last year. This year I'm prepping myself because it's going to be more of a challenge, but I know where I want to go, when I want to be there. And so I've changed it by taking control myself. Could be it. But now I'm just open to whatever happens, really. And who knows? Have fun. Like, in your especially your first season, have fun. Enjoy it. Like, it's an amateur sport at the end of the day. When you're going in your first season, yes, everyone wants to take part. A lot of people want to win. I had that shift in my season last year from wanting to take part to wanting to win, because I knew what condition I was getting into and what I could do. However, it's not the end of the world. There's so many more things out there, and that's the difficulty. Is I see a lot of people do go fully into it, and that becomes their lives. But if you're a professional and you're getting paid, and that is your life, because that is your sole income. Like for me, I'm a personal trainer, so kind of like the gym is my life. But yeah, you need to take a step back and don't get too engrossed, because what happens when the season's over? So yeah, enjoy it, have fun, and you'll learn a lot about yourself.
I think if you are supporting somebody through any season, particularly their first season, understand there are going to be things that you don't understand, and you're going to go, okay. Whether it's silly things like, I don't know, doing something quietly because the noise is going to get on their nerves. Do it quietly. Do it 20 minutes later. Just hang on. I'd say just understand that that's going to happen, possibly. I would advise a discussion with the person that's prepping and say, you need to tell me what you need, because we're not mind readers. You know, girls, from talking to you, I know we're pretty good, but we're not mind readers. Obviously, boys, if you're supporting a girl who's prepping, obviously chemical imbalances will probably mean something slightly different to them, but again, just be understanding of what they might need, and they might ask the daftest thing, and you kind of got to go, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So understand that that's going to happen. And a good piece of advice that I was given, that unfortunately I can't really action for various reasons, but take any stress you can away from them. So, for example, if they prep their meals, can you prep their meals for them? Unfortunately, I can't do that, because Stephen is very possessive of the kitchen, and he is the one that cooks. I can do it, and I have made food for him, but he likes to be in control of that. But if it's somebody that maybe you can do that for, if it's as simple as cooking chicken and rice, for example, you know, we do that to students. Come on. It's something that is doable. So any stress you can remove from that person, do that. And in addition to that, don't cause extra stress if you can help it. But I think the biggest thing is just be understanding, try and take stress off their plate, and have a conversation. Let them know they're not doing this on their own. You are there to support them. And to be fair, that's the last bit of advice. They don't need to hear, oh, but you look really good. Oh, but you're doing really well. On that moment that they're questioning it, they don't necessarily need to hear, oh, but you've done so well. Sometimes it's going to require a little bit of tough love, and go, all right then. Yeah, it's their battle. You have to fight their battle for them, but just have a discussion. is what I'd say.
Editing that here. I was just looking at mine and Stephen's video on advice for people prepping and stuff, and it just made me think of some other things that I think is worthwhile saying to anyone who is supporting someone this year, if it is their first prep particularly. I really struggled with the idea of losing, because let's face it, there's only ever going to be one winner, 3 winners, 5 winners in a competition. Not everyone's going to win, and as much as you love that person, they might not win. They might have done great and they might have done so amazing, but they might not. And I was given some really good advice by a friend of mine whose partner has competed for a couple of years, and I said to him, what do I say if he doesn't win? And he said to me, make sure they have fun. And so I literally had the question like ready, and as soon as he walked out from backstage after his first show, where unfortunately he hadn't placed and hadn't done as well as he was hoping, I smiled and I said, but did you have fun? And he was like, I learnt a lot. Yeah, I did really enjoy it. And that, I think, for anyone supporting anyone, be prepared for that. Anyone who is competing for the first time, be prepared that, you know, you've done great. Prepping is not easy, but you've done so well. But just don't have it in the back of your mind, obviously that's ridiculous. But just be prepared for that eventuality. So go out and enjoy every single second of it. Every single second of it. And for the person watching, make sure they had fun and that they enjoyed it. And just have that ready.
So that was a little bit of something just for anyone that's interested, really. But if you do have any more questions, fire a wee comment down, fire us a message, and we'll definitely get back to you.
Messages, to be fair, can be done anywhere. You can pop it in the comments, or we have an Instagram. If some of you have joined us from Instagram, thank you so much. The Instagram is @ChunksFlyTogether. I'll put it somewhere. Don't know how they do these things here. I don't know. But we'll fire that up, and obviously direct message us on Instagram. One of us will get back to you. Both have control of the account. We will get in touch with you. And that is for anyone prepping, anyone supporting anyone prepping, anyone just wanting to know more about it. Hit us up.
Thank you, and have a great day.